Hi Rise families, it's Rachel, your occupational therapist. I hope you're all doing well. I miss your children so much. I know that homeschooling can be challenging. I've been a homeschooling parent for a long time, and I know for myself I like to be given tasks that are functional and successful for me and easy to incorporate at home, and so that's what we're going to focus on this week as we're all just kind of getting these new routines set up, and you guys are embracing your role as homeschoolers now. And wanted to start today with just a focus on gathering common items that you have in your home already that we can use or turn into fine motor activities. And you don't have to be super crafty, they're very easy. I'm actually going to put an article in the link below once I figure out how to do that. So you can click on that and have more specific directions, but just kind of wanted to go over this article with you. It's not for reinventing the wheel. I like when people have already done that kind of thing for me. And Mama OT is one of my favorite occupational therapist blogs. If you don't follow her, she's a good resource. So this one is 25 fine motor activities using ordinary household items, and it focuses on pincer grasp, finger isolation, thumb opposition, the tripod grasp, the hand-eye coordination, bilateral coordination, and also midline integration and midline crossing. So today, just focus on kind of gathering some of these materials, and if you have time, you can make them. They're really easy. One that she lists, she's just using, if you can see that, she's just using any container and some pom-poms. You cut a hole in the top and kids can drop them in. Now what I like to add to things like this is an ice cube tray or something where the child has to use that little fine motor pincer grasp, right, because they can't fit all of their fingers into the ice cube tray. They can only fit their pincer fingers. Sometimes they'll sneak in little extra fingers, but you can get, if you have a smaller ice cube tray, use it, but if you don't, that's okay. And then they're putting them into just a circle cut out of a yogurt container with a lid. So if you have any of that. There's another example. We have multiple holes. If you wanted to work on colors, you could take a marker and then just make a circle around the holes of that color, and then you can have matching pom-poms that you can put in. If you don't have pom-poms, that's okay. You can use beans, you can use rocks, just so that the items are tiny and they're putting them in there. If we're going to incorporate something like this into our letter theme this week, you could take little beans and take a whiteout or colored Sharpie or something, and you could write the letters on it. You could do the letters of their name where they have to match the letters of their name. This is just kind of a basic task that's fine just the way it is, but we can always grade it up or down depending on what skills we want to work on with our child. So another similar one she has is just using marbles, and again, little container, cut a hole, we're dropping them in. Marbles are a different weight, right, than the pom-poms are. They have to use more, kind of gives them kinesthetic feedback that, we don't have to squeeze pom-poms very hard because they're light. They've got some tactile input for our fingers that's different, and so we learn, that it takes a different grasp, force of grasp to pick up a pom-pom that is a marble, which, is a little bit heavier. Plus it makes a cool sound when you drop them in, and so that can be kind of motivating for a child. Just make sure, obviously, that you're close by, because we don't want these are choking hazards, right? That's my job. I'm the choking hazard lady. Pennies, another functional thing, although you might want to wash them first. I'm sure Corona lives all over money. But buttons would work if you have poker chips. Checkers, that kind of thing will work. Oh, yeah. So she uses checkers, so she cuts a slit. And so, in the younger classrooms, you see this child's putting this in horizontally. Okay, when we get to blue room, pink room, red room, we want to try and turn it so they're having to put it in vertically also, so we get some wrist rotation here, and this is more appropriate for our handwriting grasp. So working on transitioning them up, and you can have them, do 2 to 5, whatever, horizontally, and then see if you can turn the jar, and they will start to, rotate their hand to follow it with you and see if you can facilitate that horizontal movement. And then also this goes into those pre-writing lines for vertical and horizontal lines as well. Another easy one is just a spice jar and some toothpicks. Okay, and you can see here that she also put the toothpicks into some Play-Doh, so that adds some resistance for the child to work on that finger strengthening, and then they're getting that visual motor skill just putting toothpicks in. And sitting at the kitchen table, you gotta cook, or you're doing dishes, whatever, it's a nice kind of busy activity, as long as you have a child that's not gonna eat them or poke a sibling with them or something like that. I mean, you could always cut the tips off to make them less dangerous if you wanted to, or use Q-tips, which is the next activity. So you just got a tic-tac container and some toothpicks. You might have a gum container, just anything really that you can find that's a small container, and then small objects, like we can make fine motor activities out of anything. Okay. This one, she just used a box, a graham cracker box, cut some slits in it in the front, and you can see we've just got different wrist position for putting these in the slots all around the box. This is also a cognitive activity. It's problem solving, it's motor planning. They got to figure out how to manipulate these little buttons that they're sticking in the different slots, so that it goes along with puzzle skills and orientation skills, which feeds into math skills. So that's beneficial. She got a paper plate and some sponges she cut into different shapes, and they're just stamping them on paper. That's pretty easy. It's a sensory activity. It's also, those sponges require some, or facilitate some strengthening skills, because they're having to squish them and then stamp them, and that gives them proprioceptive awareness. It gives them feedback to their hands that kind of wakes up those little receptors, so that they just have more kinesthetic awareness, which is going to facilitate more manipulation skills, just fine-tuning those. Okay, Play-Doh. Hopefully you all have Play-Doh. If you do not, you can make Play-Doh. There are many recipes online, and you can make gluten-free Play-Doh too, though that's a little trickier, but possible. And then just some pony beads, but again, beans, rocks, I don't care. Sticking them in there. Look at that pincer grasp on that kid. Pushing them in is just as beneficial as pulling them out. Some of the kids will be able to, you'll be able to bury them in there, and they can find them and dig them out, and that also works on just kind of that object permanence concept, and those cognitive skills of understanding how to look for that stuff. Some kids won't be there yet. They need them to be just on the surface for them to pull out, because they need that visual cue to know that they're there. So you can kind of play around with that with your child, see what works for them. And then of course Play-Doh in general is just amazing. They should play with it every single day, rolling it, smushing it, poking it to work on finger isolation. Cookie cutters and Play-Doh, obviously, that's an easy thing that you can do with your kid that's pretty, as long as they don't eat Play-Doh. But it's okay. Or you can make edible Play-Doh. My mom used to make peanut butter Play-Doh. We used to eat that when I was a kid. And you got a potato masher and some Play-Doh. That's kind of fun. You put it on a little cookie sheet, let them go to town. That works on those bilateral midline skills. Also a good strengthening activity for them. And there's another example. If you have a shape sorter, you can just take the shapes from a shape sorter and put those in Play-Doh. Also, clothespins, chip clips, anything like that that you have in a container, just sticking them on all around the edge, working on strengthening that pincer grasp, works on developing those tong skills, which develops into scissor skills, and again, bilateral coordination skills, so you have that one stabilizing hand and then one working hand. Transfer activities are another really good one. She's got marbles that she's transferring here, but even if you're just using water and having them pour water from one container to another, or you could add a little spoon here where they could scoop from one container to another, and that's working again on those wrist rotation skills and manipulation skills. Also, their gradation of force. They got to balance something on a spoon, or they've got to have, more accuracy. It helps them create accuracy skills when they're pouring, because they're trying to limit error for spilling and that kind of thing. If you have a colander and some pipe cleaners, if you don't have pipe cleaners, if you got spaghetti noodles, although you may not want to waste those since the stores aren't very stocked right now, but anything that you can find that's going to fit into a colander, that's another good fine motor activity. Works on those pre-lacing skills that you need later on for tying your shoe, but before that for stringing beads, for doing lacing boards, that kind of thing. And if your kiddo is able to, you can even put Cheerios on a pipe cleaner. And here she is again. She's demonstrating, she put spaghetti and Play-Doh and they're building towers with beads. Again, just that accuracy, the pincer grasp, that kind of thing. And if you don't have a colander, she's just another container she poked holes into, putting the pipe cleaners in. I've never tried this myself. So she bent a straw in half and made tongs out of it. That might be fun if you are feeding your child snack and they have some puffs or some Cheerios or popcorn or something. They want to try a folded straw using as tongs. That might be an interesting activity. And let's see, my apologies. Oranges. If you have oranges, letting your child peel their own orange. It's an excellent fine motor activity that definitely works on strengthening. It's functional, works on that pincer grasp, and you can kind of get it started for them and let them have success peeling little pieces off of it. And here's her pouring activity that she shows. You could do that in the bathtub. I think throwing sponges in the bathtub is very smart. They can squeeze them, work on that gross grasp and strengthening. If you got baby wipes containers, you can put scarves or tissue paper, little cut up pieces of cloth. If you have old t-shirts or something like that you want to cut up and put in there, because pulling that out is going to also work on, this is a strengthening activity, an accuracy activity, that kind of thing. So just common household items. I also like to, again, throw in ice cube trays with everything. I think that if you can feed your child, if they're working on a pincer grasp, feeding them their meals out of an ice cube tray is a repetitive activity, so they get lots of practice throughout the day, and it's a very motivating activity as well because they want to eat. So just kind of look around your house today and start gathering things that you think that you could use as easy fine motor activities that are kind of like this, or you can make the ones specifically here. And then if you want more guidance, then I have the Sign Up Genius up, so you can sign up for a time slot. You can we can video chat. You can show me your home and what you have to work with, and we can come up with a plan specific for you. So, and then please feel free to contact me with any needs at all. Like I said, I'm homeschooling my 4 kids, but you're still welcome to text me. That's probably the fastest way to get to me. My email box, I've got 4 kids. They each got 8 periods and 8 teachers. That I don't know what I'm doing keeping up with all of their stuff, so email's a little bit hard for me, but I am trying to check it. But text messaging is definitely faster, or you can just call me and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. So don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks. Good luck.